So in example 1, we looked at square roots, and in example 2, we're going to look at cube roots. With square roots, we're looking at what number equals squared what is under the radical. In cube roots, we're looking at what number cubed equals what's under the radical. The difference is that we can have negative values under the radical. The reason being is because if you have a negative value and you multiply it by itself 3 times, you do end up with a negative value. So with the first problem, we have the cube root of negative 343. Now we might not recognize right off the bat what value cubed is going to equal negative 343. But if you go through and look at different values and what they are cubed, start with 6 cubed, then go to 7 cubed, you'll see that this is the same thing as the cube root of negative 7 cubed. Because negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7 equals 49 times negative 7, which equals negative 343. So the cube root of negative 343 is simply negative 7. With number 2, we have a fraction, and we could recognize what fraction cubed equals the fraction that's under the radical. Or what we will learn later on is that you can separate this into the cube root of 8 over the cube root of 27. And we should easily recognize that 2 multiplied by itself 3 times is 8. So the cube root of 8 is 2. And the cube root of 27, 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So the cube root of 27 is 3. Number 3, we have the cube root of 64. So what number times itself 3 times equals 64? Well, that would be 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So this is the same thing as the cube root of 4 cubed, which equals 4. Now with number 4, we have a negative on the outside, so we'll go ahead and apply that on the outside with our equals, and then we want to know what number cubed equals 0.216. Well, we might not recognize 0.216 right off the bat, but we should recognize that 6 times 6 is 36, times 6 is 216. So negative 0, we know it's going to be negative because there's a negative under the radical as well. So negative 0.6 times negative 0.6 times negative 0.6 equals negative 0.216. So we know that this is the same thing. This cube root is the same thing as the negative cube root of negative 0.6 cubed, which equals negative 0.6, which equals a positive, because a negative of a negative is a positive, 0.6.